Just like you got this sharp samurai-inspired top with these soulless dark eyes and a grill for a mouth. These two sharp silver prongs sticking out. Like, you do not want to be in the same room with this person. Alright. Welcome to Shot by Shot, where I go through every shot of an entire movie. Here we've got the original Star Wars. Fantastic movie, lots of detail. I want to analyze why this film has impacted so many people and created the largest movie franchise in the world. I'd also like to focus on what it's like experiencing this movie for the first time, like audiences did in 1977. How it sort of introduces the franchise and all its iconic elements. This is the original theatrical version based on Team Negative's 4K 77 scan. It'll be more of a visual and dialogue focus. There's plenty of videos on John Williams' score out there already. And unlike other long-form video essays, I'll try to keep it as focused and orderly on the film as possible. So, let's get into it. Alright, so let's start off with, we've got this, just have this blue text pop up. Nothing else, complete silence. Usually films would have music with these sort of fancy titles, the cast names and all that. But here we just have this sort of mysterious quote, like, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Like, a long time ago. Like, isn't it supposed to be a sci-fi movie, you know? The poster and the trailer at the time showed, like, you know, this sci-fi action, you know, it's called Star Wars. You got the galaxy part down, but yeah, it's very mysterious and sort of, it sparks curiosity, like, what the heck is going on here? And this sort of phrase, a long time ago, very, sort of invokes these mythological tales, like, it would take place, you know, in this sort of distant past, like ancient Egypt or whatever. It would just take place like thousands of years ago, and, you know, the gods did this and whatever. So it sort of connects it to that. Yeah, and it's sort of like, it's not just, you know, some galaxy, it's a different and a distant galaxy. It's not just far, but it's far, far away in both space and time. Really sort of giving you those escapist themes, like, this is really separated from your ordinary life. And being so far removed foreshadows it's going to be a very fantastical piece. It's going to be very different from your ordinary life. So, very exciting. Bam! Yeah, there's complete silence, and now you just have this loud symphonic blast with a massive logo in your face. It wakes you up, like, this ain't gonna be some dreary, dull sci-fi movie, right? Like, zooms fast, this, like, high energy, compared to, like, a still title of the times. 2001 Space Odyssey had a symphony, but it's nothing like this, like, it's like so fantastical. So the logo just sort of nicely fades out, and then this like surreal text comes floating on the screen at this sharp, dynamic angle. Like, you know, it's just massive, especially on like a big screen. If you've ever seen this movie on like proper big screen, you just have this text going whoosh right in your face. Like, we don't even know what the story plot is. I haven't even gotten to this text yet there's already like so much excitement in just these few seconds. But yeah, let's get into it. So it says it is a period of civil war. So here we're beginning to get more info on what this Star War really is. Like, civil war, okay, interesting. And then we have rebel spaceships striking from the hidden base. Like, very exciting. This is promising some real action here. Yeah, they've won their first victory against the evil Galactic Empire. Like, they just tell you right off the bat that the Empire is evil. Like, no nuanced sci-fi themes here. They're making it clear and simple who the good and bad guys are. Like, the rebels are good, the Empire is bad. Simple as that. You don't need to think about it. And you already sort of get a bit of a sort of underdog story here, you have rebels fighting against the Galactic Empire. Like, an empire is already intimidating enough, but you add a huge word like galactic to it, and it's going to be a strong foe, And they've won their first victory, they're small, but, they got started. They have hope, which is, a key word for this film. That was the title that was added, A New Hope, afterwards. It's a pretty key part of the theming of the film. All right, let's continue. Again, just this sort of brilliant score in the background, just so adventurous and energetic, and yeah, it's amazing. All right, so now we have this second paragraph here. So, during the battle, rebel spies managed to steal secret plans. Oh, great. Another win for the good guys. This seems too good to be true. Oh no, it says, later on, it says, to the Empire's ultimate weapon, the Death Star. Like, oh no, like first of all, you read ultimate weapon, and if that's not bad enough, then you find it's called the Death Star, in all caps too. Like, oh my goodness, can it get any worse? And then you read further, and it says, an armored space station with enough power to destroy an entire planet. Like, oh goodness, not only is it armored, it can destroy an entire planet. Like, this is ridiculously powerful. And it's a threatening weapon both offensively and defensively. Like, you better hope that weakness is good. Like, just look at these strong words here. You have ultimate, Death Star, armored, and, an entire planet, destroy an entire planet. Just very strong words right here. Like, we've already been given this giant and exciting backstory with just these few sentences. But now the next paragraph is going to move on to what's going on right now in the story in the present. Just very exciting. Just have all these stars and floating text. It's like, what the heck? It's so surreal. All right. So here we got this third paragraph here. So, pursued by the Empire's sinister agents. Like, whoa, that's some more interesting world building there. Like, you want to find out who they are. Like, they sound quite threatening. Sinister agents, wow. And then you have Princess Leia races home aboard her starship. Like, a princess in a sci-fi movie. It's very unusual. Like, I mean, there's been sci-fi stories with princesses, like A Princess from Mars, I think it's called, that book from the early 20th century. It's very unusual. You want to know her backstory too. Like, you have all these very interesting concepts being introduced. And I just love the races home, very high energy wording aboard her starship. And then it says she's the custodian of the stolen plans. It connects her to the story that's told so far in the previous paragraphs. It sort of makes her a sort of key character to the story already. And then this text ends with the phrase that can save her people and restore freedom to the galaxy. Like, this is seriously high stakes. This is galactic level. Restore the entire galaxy. Like, restoring a planet is like big stakes enough, but an entire galaxy, wow. And it's interesting here that the word freedom is used instead of peace. Showing that they're more under sort of strong tyrannical oppression. So we know what the princess and the rebels want, this sort of virtue of freedom. And we're sort of attached to a story like this. Yearning for freedom is a human struggle we all face, and it's a key part of Western history as well, that we love freedom and can be under attack. So it's a very escapist story, very, it's distant, it's far, far away, but it's also very relatable. We're already sort of connected to the story. So yeah, this is really a thrilling backstory to get you pumped for what comes next. Overall, this is just like, you got this excellent score, this, this sort of surreal text. And then we just sort of watch here as the text just slowly fades into the distance, like just. And then score builds up, and then it sort of slows down. And all we are left with are these stars, increasing the anticipation further. It would be really disappointing if the movie sucked after all this. But the camera pans down, and we see a small planet, slightly bigger planet, and just this ginormous orange-brown planet. And we got this beautiful halo effect here as well. And now we have a ship racing past as well. We've got this nice sci-fi design with the 11 thrusters at the back. And it seems to be shooting at something with lasers and explosions. We're right into some action. And whoa, like, what the heck is this? There's like this massive, bigger ship coming in, and it just keeps going and going. Like, when does it end? It just almost takes up the entire screen. This thing is massive. Like, just look at all the beautiful detail on this ship. All these little bits and pieces. This is a key visual aesthetic, not only on this movie, but for the whole franchise. Yeah, and then we get this different view here, and just like, you can see the scale of these two ships shooting at each other. It sort of emphasizes these underdog themes. You got the small and weak against the large and strong. Like, you got the sort of the little fish versus the big fish here trying to swallow it up. And we can assume this is Leia's ship as well, because it meets the description of the opening crawl. It's small, it's in battle, and it's racing away. So, you got lots of good pew-pew action still. Yeah, just look at this. There's so much action. And then, yeah, we get a closer look at the smaller ship here again. Lots of great detail here. Very nice design. Yeah, it's just very immersive, just like having all this detail. Sort of really, it isn't some sort of really sort of blank thing. But yeah. And bang, this isn't good for the smaller ship. And then we cut to an interior shot. Now, notice how the camera, it shakes straight away. As soon as the explosion happens, whoa, the camera just sort of goes like that. This makes it very clear that we are now within the smaller ship. So you've had that establishment, and now it sort of seamlessly comes into the ship. And then you sort of have these two droids sort of waving their hands as well, sort of further emphasizing. So they're sort of like, whoa, So we sort of know that we're in that ship now. And yeah, there's a lot to visually unpack here in this stark white interior, very sci-fi. This helps makes these droids and the other characters stick out, which is sort of the focal point of our attention, and also works well for the action that we'll see later on, makes it very clear what's happening. Now the character designs here are just brilliant. You've got these two shiny humanoid gold characters on the left and a short and wide blue character on the right. So I'll touch further on these designs throughout the scene. But yeah, just great visual design. But yeah, it's just sort of hilarious how they just stumble around as well. And yeah, now we've got Also, something I'd like to mention as well, you got the sort of siren in the background as well, sort of emphasizing that this is a serious red alert battle, amping up the suspense. Yeah. And then we just have these men dashing through the corridor, like continuing that emergency atmosphere. And like you can see they're in these sort of strange helmets. It's another world. Though these are human beings, you know, it's a completely different culture from our own. And, you know, costume design's quite good. You still have this sort of subtle blue tint on the clothes as well, sort of again, sort of highlighting that they're the sort of the good guys. You know, blue's a very sort of calm, comforting colour, just sort of subtly interweaved in there. Yeah. We've got another shot here of them running, just highlighting the stress, and just sort of making it clear that, you know, something's happening and we're going to see what that is. Again, we have this sort of, you know, gold and silver droid pondering around while the blue one is stable and moving in a straight line. It's a great demonstration of the contrast, and we're going to see a lot between these two throughout this movie. So it just sort of smoothly goes along with these two are like hobbling about. Whoa. So now we've got this this close-up shot of the gold droid. Like, it's also another shaky shot, another sort of boom explosion. Like, you know, this is a real serious battle. And now we have this close-up of the gold droid showing that it's a key character, as it has a shot purely to itself. It isn't just some random sort of background display. And yeah, it also says, did you hear that? You know, it sort of reveals the character can talk, and it's just more just, you know, it's actually, it's a key part of the scene. And also in the next shot, we have a shot of the blue droid as well. So we know that that's an important character as well. And what's interesting, instead of talking back, we get these beeps, which I'll explore later on, this sort of interesting dynamic between the two.
They shut down the main reactor. We destroyed the shore. This is madness.
Again, this quote is really sort of upping those stakes. Like, you know, you're slowly increasing the suspense of all these little things. And also sort of shows that this gold droid is quite worrisome as well. It's like, you know, sort of panicking a little bit about the situation. And again, the blue droid just continues to be, but doesn't say anything in English or whatever. So you're sort of beginning this cute dynamic between these two droids, as one can talk, but the other cannot. Now, here we see the silver droid go out of view. So by now we've got a picture that these are the two focal characters of the scene. You've got this great contrasting dynamic here. You've got the tall, thin and gold droid, which can speak, paired up with a short, wide and blue droid that cannot, just speaks and beeps and boops that the audience can't understand. And, you know, you've got one that's stressed, that's sort of all hobbling about. And you got another that's more sort of calm and collected and doesn't say much and just sort of moves smoothly in whatever it's doing. Okay, we got more running, more build-up of action. Really, like, what the heck are they running to? And now we see in this shot that they've stopped now, and they're pointing their weapons in the same direction towards the door in this distance. And even more are setting up, like this area and particularly this door must be very important. We know this is going to be a key point of interest in the scene. And they're all pointing towards this direction. Something's going to happen here. Well, that's a very strong thing to say. Doomed is a strong word, and it shows the gold droid's hopelessness and highlights the weakness of the rebels compared to the Empire. And here we just have such a great look at all this dirt and grime. It's another key aesthetic of the franchise. Even here, in the next shot, R2-D2, we can see it on the blue droid too. This increases the believability of the world that it's been lived in. Something that the director, Lucas, emphasized very heavily. And, what's funny is that, the Gold Droid's doomed quote is met with this cheery, high-pitched beeping. It prevents the moment from becoming too dreary, and we'll see that throughout the scene. There's a lot of very, sort of comedic moments that stops it from becoming too dour. So you've got this cute
There'll be no escape for the princess this time.
Yeah, so this quote confirms that this is the princess's ship. And it increases the stakes quite a lot by saying no escape for the princess. That isn't good. And it's interesting that he also says this time. So we got some more interesting backstory here. Like what happened last time? And why can't she escape this time? But we're going to find out very soon. I've got another shot on the blue droid, emphasizing its importance. This isn't just some random background character. We can also understand at this point that the droid is sort of communicating with the gold droid with these sort of beeps. It's sort of like a different language.
What's that?
And we got these sort of weird clanging sounds. It's not like a loud explosion, but it still sounds very sinister. Even the gold droid says, "What's that?" It's highlighting that this sound is quite important. And it's different from what's been going on before. Even the human rebels have become aware of it. They're looking up, what is this clanging sound? Yeah, and we see that many more rebels are waiting at the store. Again, they seem very unsure about this mysterious sound. And then it's revealed that the big ship is over the small one and it's sucking it into itself. We can just really see how massive this ship is in comparison. And it can easily consume this other ship that we've seen has these massive long corridors. This is also very highly symbolic of like a whale consuming its prey. It sort of shows this empire as this colossal predator that's consuming these weak rebels. And now, they're in the belly of the beast. We've got another shot. These two droids, they're showing that they're primary characters, and we really get a good look at their full design. And it's just really nice. You got all this detail, these legs, and all these little bits and bobs, and R2-D2 and C-3PO's sort of wires here. It's great. Now look at this guy's expression on his face, like, this isn't good. Like, they don't know what's going on. Like, they probably don't even know they've been sucked into the bigger ship. This isn't looking good for the rebels. And you see, this actor's expression here is quite good because it sort of moves from confusion to sort of regaining focus on this door. It's like something's going to happen here. Like, what is going to happen? And again, we just get a shot of this door completely by itself, confirming this is a key point of interest. And from all this sort of build-up and their guns pointing at it, we can assume at this point that this is going to be the entrance that the Empire will break through to get into the ship. So we really is just sort of waiting in anticipation for them to break through. And here we got a great shot of the rebels just ready for battle, all in very dynamic poses with guns pointing, like something's going to happen. You just got these two quick shots here, like bang, 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 and then whoa, sparks are flying with this sort of chainsaw sound effect, like the Empire breaking in. And the music goes, ooh, it's really like building up now. You got this sort of expression here where, only lasts for a few frames, but you got this rebel with sort of this fearful expression, but also very determined. He's raising his weapon like something is going to happen. The action is almost here. And, this isn't a good look. Like, again, he's a bit sort of bewildered. Like, what's going to happen? And, yeah, there's very quick cuts. Like, it's when you're watching this at full speed, it makes your heart go like, oh, what's going to happen? The suspense is so high. What these foes look like on the other side, and who will win this battle? Yeah, and it's just all raising to this point, and boom, massive explosion. If you love movie action, this doesn't disappoint. You can see here the rebels are bewildered. Sparks, debris, and smoke are flying everywhere. And we know that they're in the middle of some serious danger right now. And then out the smoke, our foes are revealed, and they dash through the door, guns blazing, straight away. The tension has released, and the proper action has begun. And unlike the rebels, these enemies are maskless. At this point, we don't even know if they're human or not. They got this very intimidating look, like you got the stark white with these sharp black eyes and mouth. And we got a rebel taking a shot, and it lands, showing that while intimidating, the Empire soldiers are still vulnerable, and the rebels have a fighting chance. This isn't like really thick, impenetrable armor, So, it's going to be an interesting battle here. Let's see what happens. Got lots of pew-pew action here. Rebels falling to the ground. And the troops continue to pile in. They're gaining ground here. Even the rebel just then. Like, this guy's had to duck back in. From it, so they're making a very strong advance here. Yeah, you can see they're pushing in. This isn't good for the rebels. And we got another loss here. The rebels are struggling quite a bit. And yeah, the Empire's pushing in even further. This isn't good. Oh, yet another loss. The rebels are being absolutely decimated. And we can see here debris everywhere, bodies on the floor, smoke. So this guy's running right in front of the camera. This is definitely a Star War, all right, The title does not disappoint. Oh, and you can see this close-up of this guy just going, ah, with his mouth. It just intensifies the emotion of the scene. Now, audiences may have noticed that all of this is a bit cheesy. Like, a lot of the actors' expressions and deaths are a bit over the top. You got droids hobbling about. Even a lot of the film crew thought this was, a bit too silly.
I'm not putting down the British crew, but there was kind of attitude like, what is this?
It didn't help that most of the crew thought Star Wars was just a children's film. At times, even the actors were hard-pressed to take the work seriously.
Didn't think it was going to be any good. At least I didn't. I thought, this is a bit strange. And I can remember this lighting man. He said, what is all this about? He said, I can't, it's a load of rubbish.
This may seem like a negative, but actually makes the film more entertaining and fun. A realistic depiction just wouldn't be suitable in 1977, as audiences had just come out of the Vietnam War. They don't really want to think about a realistic war at this point. It also makes it more suitable for a younger audience, which Lucas has said is his primary demographic for the series. So we see the rebels are down a lot of people, like the Empire's taking over. Got bodies on the ground everywhere. And look, as the troopers just continue to pile in, just seamlessly endless numbers. You got like 6 of them on screen, and they're all sort of taking out the entire frame. I mean, the gold droid was right. This does seem hopeless. Here they are. They're getting some serious ground now. They're stomping in, claiming their ground. And yeah, here we go. The rebels are retreating. It's not a good sign. And now we see the Empire's properly made its way in and are quickly taking over the ship. Like, there's nowhere to hide. Look at this guy. Bang, bang. Like, you think you can hide back there? No. You're gone. Can't, the Empire is a relentless force. And as they're running away, we see some familiar faces. It's like, oh crap, they're coming, get out of here. It's very adventurous. And you're thinking, oh, how are our friends going to get out of this one? You see the blue droid looking up and beeping like, what are we going to do? And like, the gold droid looks left, and you sort of got this sort of stalemate going on. You got the troopers on that side, the rebels on the other. So they're in the middle of this crossfire. It's a very, very dangerous place. But something unexpected happens, and we'll just. They just walk through the middle of tons of open fire. They don't even jump or dash across. They just waddle along. It's hilarious. It's like silly. Again, this comedy sort of stops the scene from becoming too serious and adds to this sort of feeling of adventure, a sort of childlike adventure. And we sort of have a bit of a jump cut here. Boom! That was close. You hope they're okay. Very exciting. And we've shown the rebels have lost that fight too and are retreating further. This seems like a lost battle. This isn't good. There they go, run off. You just got the smoke everywhere. Like really, like they're just absolutely being annihilated. And then we hear this psh, and out comes a new type of villain. Oh goodness, is that intimidating? You've got this tall character, almost dressed in completely black with this massive cape. You can even see the trooper here standing to attention. This character is higher in the hierarchy of the Empire. And then you have these sort of weird buttons on him and everything. It's like weird. It's like, and then you hear this. And it's like chilling. Like even the music stops. If you notice, the music completely stops when this character starts breathing. Is it human, alien, machine? You got all these weird buttons, like, and this, what the heck is this thing here? Like, it's so strange. But then you get a close-up of his mask as well. And just look at how aggressive it is. Just like you got this sharp samurai-inspired top with these soulless dark eyes and a grill for a mouth. These two sharp silver prongs sticking out. Like, you do not want to be in the same room with this person. And then this character, and we'll see, does this stomp across, and you have these swarm of troopers behind him, maintaining that low angle close up, showing the relentless force of the Empire. They're just coming into your face. So that's the end of that scene. And in the next one, we're going to be introduced to the character of Leia, and see how this battle ends. See you in scene 4.